I tracked every dollar I spent on my Lamborghini Huracán Evo Spyder in the last 6 months, and the real cost is way different than what people think. So here's exactly what it cost me to own this car, what I paid for it over the last 6 months. And stay tuned for the whole thing, because at the end of the video I will just go ahead and reveal what I'm paying monthly for this vehicle. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, what I do is teach you how to go from a Honda Civic to a Lamborghini, because that's what I did. I retired at the age of 33, and I made this channel to share my knowledge with the rest of the world. So if you want to learn everything there is to know from me, subscribe to the channel. I put out content every single week. So quick context, this is a Huracán Evo Spyder. I bought it for around $280,000 roughly 6 months ago. It is not my daily car, this is my weekend car, and that is going to make a big difference in terms of costs that you're going to be having with this vehicle. I probably drive it around 2,500 to 5,000 miles a year, and granted, the majority of that is all going to be highway miles. And again, that matters a lot because your usage is going to completely change the cost of owning something like this. If you daily the car, your numbers are going to be way higher than mine. So let's get right into it. Number one is going to be insurance. So I pay roughly $300 a month in insurance. The insurance provider that I went with was the amazing Geico. Whenever I bought my vehicle, obviously insurance was going to be the next immediate thing that I had to get for the car. Now keep in mind, with insurance, I have a clean record, knock on wood. But even though that was the case, I did have to call 4 to 5 different insurance companies to lock down a rate. And so that could be one thing you really have to watch out for. If you are somebody in your 20s, it's obviously going to be a lot tougher for you to get insurance for a car like this. So I would actually call the insurance company first before you even consider getting a vehicle like this. That also goes for my people who are in your 30s. My 40s crowd, you guys are more on the lucky side, I will say, because a lot of the insurance companies that I spoke with, they were also saying that they only give insurance to supercars like this, or cars with over 600 horsepower, to people who are over 40s, or whether or not they completely paid their car off in cash. If you financed or leased your car, that is also going to make it more difficult for you to get insurance for the vehicle. But it wasn't until I called up Geico, and they were amazing to work with. But yes, $300 a month, so over the 6 months, that cost me $1,800. And honestly, this is one of the biggest surprises for people. Everyone assumes that insurance is going to be like $1,000 a month on a Lamborghini, but it really does come down to things like your driving record, your age, where you live. Also keep in mind that if you are somebody who keeps your vehicle garage kept in a very good area, your rate is also going to be lower because of that. But most importantly, you also do get asked how much you plan on driving the vehicle, and then depending on that mileage that you're putting on, that is also going to fluctuate the cost that you might inquire. Since this isn't my daily driver, my rate is way lower than somebody using it every single day. Number two, let's go over the gas. Now, gas over the last 6 months was around $800. So the cost of fill up per tank, I would say, is roughly $80. And the amount of times that I fill up the gas in my Huracan is roughly 1.25 times a month. So I obviously suck at math, but I want to say that that's around $800 throughout the course of the last 6 months. Gas, again, is not that bad because this vehicle is my weekend car. I'm not driving it every day. So even though each fill up hurts a little bit, the total over time isn't crazy unless you're constantly driving it. Also, it's more about the miles per gallon type of car. Alright, let's talk about maintenance next. Now this could be its own separate video one day, but let's quickly just kind of break this down. So with tires on a Lamborghini Huracan, it's recommended on average that the tires get done every 10,000 miles or so. Again, because I don't drive that much, this is not going to be something that I have to worry about until 3 years down the road. Whenever I got my car, it did come with brand new tires. Cost of an oil change is going to be a major one. I've spoke about it in my last video, but if you go to a official store, more likely than not, a oil change or a minor service is going to cost you around $1,600 to $2,000 every single year. Or if you drive more than I do, that could be double. But if you do find a local exotic shop that specializes in doing service work for Lamborghinis and other exotic vehicles, you could probably get that down to around $300 to $600 per service, or for an oil change. $300 was what I paid, and because I don't drive the car all that much, again, the oil change or service that I have to do for that vehicle is just going to be every year. When it comes to maintenance, you do obviously have to do your oil change on a vehicle like this every single year, and A brake flush is every 2 years, and then every 3 years, from what I know, to my knowledge, is going to be a more extensive service where you got to do things like flushes, possibly transmission fluid flushes, which can get pretty expensive, and things like spark plugs. For my last 6 months, again, I only had to spend $300 for the maintenance. And then just quickly going back to the tires part, if you do have to do your tires, I still have yet to look at the official numbers, but TireRack.com is what I would be using to look at the numbers for that, so you yourself can do your own research there. But I do want to say that tires could range around $2,000 to $4,000. And again, whenever you're dealing with performance tires, they do wear a whole lot faster, especially if you're tracking the car or driving really aggressively. Let's talk about brakes real quick as well. So probably the most interesting cost about the vehicle is going to be the brakes. So brakes, if you get the carbon ceramics for a Lamborghini, those brakes not only perform really good, but they do last for a long time. I'll double check my research on this one too, but from what I've heard is that I probably will not have to change the brakes at all. It could be something that only has to be done every 30 to 40,000 miles, which again for me is going to be way down the road. Detailing the car is a big one. So depending on how you keep your car, if you have a garage for it, which I'm sure that the majority do, then your costs for car washes and detailing are going to be a bit lower versus if you were somebody who was just parking the Lamborghini outside, which can be a bit of a bummer at times. But I personally get my car wash every single month. So when it comes to car washes, I typically pay around $20 to $30 a month on that. So I do have a vehicle storage unit for my Huracán. It does stay relatively clean. I'll typically hand wash it from time to time, or I'll take it through a touchless car wash, which I know that a lot of people are going to lose their minds over. But the vehicle is full PPF and it is touchless, and I only go through really good ones. But the ultimate way is to make sure that a vehicle like this is detailed, hand washed. The one big thing with the Lamborghini is that you're actually going to be reached out by a lot of detailers out there, many of them who will actually come to your house. And a cool thing about the Lamborghini is that because it's obviously a special vehicle, you're going to have the option of choosing many different detailers who could be cleaning off your vehicle. But if you're able to find somebody who's really dedicated, who's definitely in their phase of the life, who are trying to hustle and build a good portfolio, you could get a pretty good detail for roughly around $100 or so. The lowest I got from a mobile detailer around my area was around 80, and then every other time after that would be a whole lot cheaper. But again, depending on the area that you're at, this could be higher or lower. My vehicle is full PPF, so there isn't much major work that needs to be done with it in terms of detailing. And then within the last 6 months, I've probably had my car detailed twice. So within the last 6 months, I would say $200 in total for detailing. And then for car washes here and there, about say $20 a month, which comes out to around $120. So around $300 to $400 in the past 6 months to just keep my car clean. This cost could also go up and down a whole lot depending on who you are. I'm definitely a lot more on the lenient side of keeping the car clean. I do have products of my own that I just use from time to time to just clean off my own car. But realistically, if you own a car like this, you're going to be wanting to keep it looking perfect, whether it's touchless washes, detailing of products, or just the time spent cleaning it. It adds up a little bit over time. You don't buy the Lamborghini to let it just stay dirty though. Let's talk about registration. So in Massachusetts, I believe the only thing that I'm getting hit with is this road tax or excise tax. So this could depend a lot on your state. So from what I know, if you have a brand new Lamborghini, one that's only a year old or not even, your excise tax or bill is going to be something way out the roof, which is a one-time annual bill that goes down every single year that you have the car. So if you were somebody who's getting a brand new Lamborghini, you can probably best bet that if you also live in a state like this, that your excise bill is going to be something that could be around $10,000-$15,000 throughout that course of the first year, which does go down every single year. But again, it's not something that could be cheap. This could be a bill that could surprise people. So if you did consider making a big purchase down the road on a brand new car, I would also check to see with your town clerk to see what you'd be expecting to pay in terms of road tax or a excise bill, because that could be one that could be really surprising. My excise bill, again, my Lamborghini is a 2020, so the excise bill was actually just under $1,000. But again, if this was a vehicle that was brand new, it would have been $10,000 to $15,000 throughout the course of that first year. Let's talk about depreciation. Is one of those hidden costs that many people do not see coming. So the thing with depreciation, this one is a big one. This could be one that you should definitely do your research on. So when I bought my Lamborghini Huracán Evo Spyder, I knew that this was going to be the last V10 that Lamborghini is going to be making, because the next one is going to be the Temerario V8 hybrid turbo. So the vehicle that I have is going to be definitely a collector's piece if I keep the mileage lower, which I may or may not do, because obviously this car is meant to be enjoyed. But I did know that me buying this vehicle, I was buying it at the perfect right time, because it was right before the Temerario came out. So by me knowing that, I bought the car again for $280,000. I knew that there was no possible way that if the vehicle stayed in good condition, that it could go below that. I highly think that the value of the vehicle is going to flatline, is going to hold no matter what. And I honestly do think that this vehicle that I have is going to go up in value over the course of the next 5 years. And if it was 10 years, it would be a whole lot more. So the website that I've been using to kind of check the value for my vehicle was classic.com. I'll actually post up the comps that I saw on that website for my exact spec. So for my exact spec, what I'm seeing in terms of the comps is that the vehicle on the low end is selling for 280 grand, which is the price that I bought. But on the other end of the comps, you can see that the vehicle in some parts of the world are selling for roughly $300,000. So I've been monitoring this for the last 6 months, and it has been gradually, slowly going up. There was a big jump before, and then now is pretty steady. But we all know that there is no replacement for displacement. So I do believe that the depreciation for this vehicle is going to be something very low. But according to these comps that we're seeing right now, the vehicle is gradually going up in value, which is a huge thing. A lot of vehicles, you cannot say that, but that is one thing to be extremely cautious about, that if you do plan on getting a really expensive car, what I did was I bought one that's 5 years old. But not only that, I bought it at a specific time where that vehicle is going to have its own history to it. A lot of supercars out there do fluctuate in value if the vehicles have their own story. So I'll give you an example. A Aventador SVJ is going to be a vehicle that has completed the Nürburgring in a record time, probably the fastest Lamborghini to date. So the values on that vehicle is a spectacular vehicle. So the values on that has jumped up to $1 million now. And then another big one is, say for example, a Huracan Performante. So one of those vehicles too are going up for 320 plus. So vehicles like that have a story behind them are going to be ones that hold their value the best. But keep in mind, I would say that right now probably one of the worst cars to buy is going to be a brand new model year Temerario. The performance on that car is probably the best in Lamborghini history. But whenever you're buying a vehicle that's a first year newer design, those do typically come with more kinks and quirks, but they do get resolved the older that model year gets. So depreciation for me, I want to say it's 0, and I honestly think that I could sell the car for a profit right now. So I could even say that this is 0 up to $10,000 in gain. So what I pay for my payment every single month on the Lamborghini is around $2,500 a month. And I could break down what exactly I put down and all those other fees in another video, but that is just a number to throw at you guys. I don't have my calculator on me, so I don't know what the total would be in the last 6 months. So what I'll do is drop it in the comments right down below, and then if you all wanted to add your input to it or mention something that I may have forgotten, feel free to write it down below. But in a nutshell, what you would see online is probably not accurate at all to what you would see in real life. The biggest difference is going to be how much you drive the car. But I will say that before I bought the car, I did think that the costs were going to be a lot higher. So let me know what you all think. Again, I get back to every single comment, every single question. Write it down below, and I'll see you all for the next one.